Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chat Trap. Today, my guest started out his practice as an undergraduate student very early on in his career. He wanted to design interior and architectural spaces with a keen interest in the psychology of spaces. Mr. Sunny Akbar, who firmly believes in practicing what he learns but putting his own twist in it. Today, he is the founder and director of Feel and Bari, a process-driven design firm in Chennai. So, Sunny, how has the journey been from being a student of architecture to now owning an architecture and design firm?
I think we started off as students. A group of us, we always believe in practice what you learn, and that becomes your education. Unless you implement what you know or you learn immediately, that is going to, wither away, and it's not going to be in your capacity. So, as kids sitting through architecture classes, the five of us, we came together and by night started a firm. And by second year, third year college, I don't know if I can say this, but since it's a chat trap that we're talking about,
You're trapped now.
hey, I want to be. We started the practice as students. So we worked at night and we studied at day, or we pretended to study at day. But we ran out of college and we went and looked at our sites and we paid our way through college. And by the time we were done with college, we had about 32 projects done, and that's how the journey started. So it was, and I don't know if I can say this, but I am saying it. I did there was an internship that I had to take up, and I was at a large firm. And while seeing their process for a short while, I thought that if I can do it for these guys, I can do it for myself. And went right out there and walked out and hired somebody, hired an architect who could give me an internship certification while they work for me.
Wow. No, you just get things done. That's the point.
You mess around.
Yeah,
you mess around. You gotta
just-
mess around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I'll have to ask you that when you were doing these internships, what are the sensibilities that you got from these internships did you bring into your own firm, and what are the different ones that you incorporated that you thought that maybe these are the ones that I should bring on my own to my own firm?
So the thing that you don't learn as an architect is business.
Okay.
And architects make terrible businessmen.
Right.
Okay. Or businesswomen. I don't like to be gender biased.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? You got to figure out your way as you go along, and you got to make financial sense of your firm and of your establishment. So, and starting off young, you're lost, and you make so many mistakes, and you learn. And when you do these internships, or when you start working with somebody, or you observe certain people's processes, that something that immediately strikes you and say, I gotta take it back to where I practice. And that implementation of those little learnings, like very early on when you're 19, 20, you come across a bill of quantity, and at that time you're still very excited about design or your staircase or how your lines are coming out, and then this boring thing of bill of quantities is like maybe 20 pages of specifications and quantities.
Right.
But then the truth of it is, if you can capture each of those quantities related to a set of drawings and the views, then your project can be captured within a particular budget. Because every year has been a massive loss of maybe 1 crore plus, because we didn't know how to keep ourselves together, and we had to withstand such losses. And when we learned that we can keep these things together, and we had to realize that turnkey was not our way as we work, and we had to start depending on large scale contractors who initially would literally throw you out. They look at you and they're like, you're a kid, step out of my office.
Oh gosh.
And today the same contractors are your best friends, and you take value from them. And when you see them on site, when they walk through the site, the quality of the site immediately improves, and so is that your responsibility as well. So I don't know if I answered the question.
That brings me to the next question, that when you founded Feel and Bari along with the others, what was your own particular perspective that you wanted, an element that you would not let go of when you got Feel and Bari on board?
So Feel and Bari was given birth to because I worked with my partner for 13 years, at a firm called Foyd.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
we have Foyd.com, and Gaurav has asked me a couple of times to pass over Foyd.com. And I
Right.
said, hey, you know what? I'm not so sure. So my partner still runs that. I moved out of Foyd because I realized that I needed to bring in processes. So you have these rule of thumb things that you instantly take up. CSSFFF means nothing, but that's the order of everything that's done on site. Civil, services, shell,
Okay.
fit out, finishes, furnishing.
Hmm.
If that sequence is there, and that realization that in that particular order, and each of those things complete will only lead to the next one, it will give you a much better perspective. Otherwise, you're all over the place, not knowing where you should be. So processes was something that I brought to Feel and Bari, and we've stuck to those processes. So then we realized that processes are everything, because you're not taught that at design school. You're taught
Right.
design, or you're taught lines, or you're taught materials, but processes are something that you've got to invent on your own, and you have to, like that. You've got what's the design process? You start off with maybe a brief. You talk to the client and download that brief from that client properly and capture it in a concise manner. Briefs can be large, elaborate text, but they're not. Capture the concise content of the brief, saying he wants a home for his family for the next 25 years, and that's pretty much the standard brief for everybody. Right? Take that brief, and you realize that if there's anything that you can pull out as a concept with realization of the site or the surroundings. So brief, concept, scheme, presentation, working drawings, bill of quantities, contractor selection, site kickoff, scheduling, and project management to closure. Processes. That's what we brought.
Okay. I also read up that lighting is your speciality, is your forte.
Right.
So how important it is to, I know that it can change the whole perspective of the space, but what is your perspective of looking at lighting?
I love lighting because I started off as a lighting designer at a lighting firm called K-Light very early on. And I had the opportunity to design lamps or color rendering index or test these lamps and their outputs, and that was a good exposure to see. And they had a lot of student interaction programs, so they made me well versed with that. So I would conduct these programs. So for about 200 odd colleges, we've given seminars on lighting. And that gave me the insight to say there's so much and so many techniques, and actually realize, so psychology of spaces is key. You put warm light in a space, you feel nice and mellow and calm. My office has warm light. My clients come and say, you sleep here, you don't work. And I actually have to step out of my office to work, because my office is where my meetings happen, and I'd rather have a mellow space than a very bright and alert space. So it's more like a relaxed thing. Chill there, relax there. Actually, there's a lot of chilling that happens.
That's a great office to be in.
You should come by it.
For sure.
Yes, it's a good feel.
Okay. So then what about the fact that right now you told me that you're into teaching also now. What kind of knowledge would you impart to the students today if one had to open a firm on their own, just like you did? What is the one piece of advice you would give to these young architects? And what is the one thing that you will tell them not to do that you have learned over the years?
Okay. What I would tell them as a piece of advice is start. Just go and do it.
Go for it.
Go do it. And the advice I would say don't do is nothing. Actually, go everywhere, do everything, try everything. Don't stop.
Okay.
So there's no right or wrong. You'll learn, you'll figure it out, and it'll happen for you. Yeah. What must happen will happen, and your destiny is already somewhere in the cosmos mapped out, and you're just going to go through that course, and you're going to have fun while doing it. So live it up. Whatever is going to be, up for you, take that on. That's like a life advice, that just take it on, have the courage, have the leap of faith. Always. Okay. It's going to be that. So then when you started to now, when Feel and Bari is an established architecture and design firm, how have things changed for you in the industry? Starting off, technology has been a major input into architecture. Dependency on software and presentation and giving the client the real feel. Today, my clients demand that I give them a virtual experience of their
Hmm.
space. So they are on their virtual headgear and are observing every little corner of their house even before
Wow.
it's built. So they get that feel. And still the renders and the quality of presentation, all of that has changed from early 2000s until 20 years now,
Hmm.
that it's really upscale, and you've seen it because you've seen drafting and you've taken printouts and gone with drawings, and today the drawings are there with you, but the presentation of the
It's
spaces has become the key.
Hmm.
People are seeing what
Right.
they want to get rather than the drawing, and the drawing is there to for us to study and analyze and map out the flow of things, but
Hmm.
presentation has really taken another level. So technology, advent of materials, the number of people who are bolstering this industry has grown tremendously, and
Hmm.
we have access to so much right now
Right.
that we're spoiled,
For sure.
literally spoiled, to know that you've got everything available. You can do wonders. Sometimes you're shocked as to, can I keep up? because
True.
because there's so much material around, and there's so many lovely ways to put it together, that you're sometimes stopping short to say, have I arrived there? Am I keeping up? So yeah, it's always a battle, it's always a struggle. You're never ahead.
Hmm.
The industry is huge, it's massive, and it's amazing, and it's always going to be constant.
So is it like sort of like a disadvantage also with this all advancement in technology that sometimes you feel like you can't keep up? There's so much going on.
I don't no way, it's not
No.
a disadvantage. No, it's not a disadvantage.
I was just, I threw a bullet right there. That may be okay.
keep up.
Keep up.
And then that brings a very good insight, because it's all about our teams,
Hmm.
and you've got to interact with the younger crowd.
Right.
And these guys, these kids, they come in from colleges, and they're fantastic today.
Hmm.
And their level of professionalism, or their level of detail, or their level of knowledge that they have garnered over time is so amazing that you've got to put your ego down, and you've got to be humble and go right to the bottom. Say, there's no hierarchy. I know something, you know something.
Hmm.
Let's exchange.
Hmm.
Or I know nothing, nor do you. Let's sit and talk and figure it out together.
Learn together.
And now when you come to that point, and you're okay with these kids being chill with you, and we're hanging out and we're figuring it out, then that age barrier, that experience, all that just goes and
Hmm.
comes in waves. So it's
True.
like you take from them, they take from you, and that's how you keep adapting. The minute you stop doing that, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you have to change with the times, change with the surroundings.
It's not even so much. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. I like the philosophy of your life, Sunny. It's just take it as it comes.
Hey, it is what it
Relax
is.
and chill. I really like that. Okay, so then I should ask you, like you said, that there's so much to choose from
Mhm.
in regards to material, lighting, spaces. That could you tell me about the current trends in architecture and design, and what are the trends that you foresee maybe in the next 5 years that will be popular?
So, with technology and media and access to so much happening, now the best firms are no longer the best firms in terms of design per se. They are the best firms because of their level of expertise, or the amount of work that they have done that has garnered them that experience to know what. But when it comes to design, it's an open book, because some of the smaller firms, you'll see some amazing design coming around. Putting the best firms and the smaller firms together, collaborative work, that's somewhere in the future a very big aspect. Like how artists always work with other, you've got
Right.
featuring this and featuring that.
Of course.
You've got to do that, and you've got to come together, and you've got to produce some amazing stuff, and it's already happening. And you see on a lot of architecture websites, you see that they're associated with this firm or that firm, because they have some experience, and that's happening more and more and more. And that's one way, collaborative work. And COVID has now taught us that you can work from anywhere. I really don't believe that.
Really?
No.
What do you believe?
hands-on,
Hands-on.
hands-on, in person. That's lovely, especially when it comes to design. You can't do it over a computer screen. You can, but I don't choose to. I'd rather have that joy and that pleasure to sit down and then drop a couple of lines, discuss, fight, shout, all of that.
Right.
I want it this way.
Some combination of ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. I also wanted to ask you, yes, about how important is PR, digital marketing, these kind of aspects important in your expansion strategy?
That's a place I'm constantly failing at. The PR is something that we've got. We love our personal relationship with our clients. It's so personal that when people walk in, or the clients who are comfortable with us, and almost all of them are, they'll call us up on the way and they say one time papdi chaat and one
Oh,
thing.
how
So
nice.
they order their meals because we sit down and we dine together while we discuss. It's a nice snack
lovely.
time design session or a
Hmm.
discussion that we take off. So that way, and it's really good that you have to have a very good and genuine heartfelt. It's not even a term of PR. It's real heartfelt. I hold your hand and you hold my hand and we'll go together, and that's a fact. But digital marketing is something that I haven't partaken in, and I've been told and I've been told and I've been told that that's the future, and that's
Right.
where 90% or 100% of people's work is coming from now. I'm still just absorbing what I already have with the connections or the contacts or the clients that we built over the years to just service them itself properly. But I know that if the firm is ready and it's going to do a good online presence and market themselves digitally, that the work will definitely increase. And speaking of expansion, I think an architect is responsible of creating his space wisely. You don't need a fancy studio or anything when it comes to architecture. And some of the better firms don't even have that. They have very, very normal workspaces and they create some amazing things outside. But as architects, it is up to us to tickle our own
True.
fetishes and design lovely spaces for ourselves, for our clients to come in, experience, to get a fit, feel, finish of the spaces that we're capable of doing, and for us to keep getting excited, because once we get into those spaces, we can really. So that's something that I'm constantly seeing for our firm to move to maybe a nice large plot, even if it's a little far away from the city,
Right.
overlooking the beach or
Oh, lovely.
something like that.
That's what I was going to ask you next. That what is your personal design space like? If you had to do it for your own self, what are the elements, like 5 elements you would want in your design space?
The elements I think
Anything.
psychologically speaking, we were designing our reception the other day, and we shut the door. So we have 2 lighting modes. We have one for the day and then one for the night.
Okay.
Okay, and we've
That's the
got
chill time.
Yeah, we've got purple lights that turn
Oh, how
on, and the whole
lovely.
reception and the whole office actually turns purple.
Oh gosh, I have to visit now. Visit it for sure.
So the concept that all of us sat down or we were standing and screaming at each other for was that when somebody opens the door to this place, it's got to be a shocker for them to say, I'm happy. I'll do like this dance move when I walk in. Whatever stress I may be in, I might even be coming to address an issue over here. But I walk into the space, and for like that 10 seconds or 30 seconds, I'm disconnected from all of that, and I'm like shocked into this.
You didn't do a jig when you came in here. You should have done it.
I'll do it now.
Yes, you do it now before leaving. We'll do it together.
Great.
This jig of yours.
Done.
Done.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I think that's concepts can give us spaces. Good concept. So if I want to say I want to be happy, that's a concept, right? And I can work towards the things that will make me happy. So what we thought about is probably have a big mirror. People like to see themselves and light it up right. And
Right.
you walk in and then you can look at yourself and you look nice, or you want to tap yourself up and then say you're good. And it's in a bit of a private space, so you've got that little time for yourself and you feel happy, because generally when you look at yourself you tend to feel happy, right?
Of course.
You start there, some nice music, some really nice space to sit, weather, the things like that.
That brings me to another question, that when you meet with a client and you gather what they really want from a space, and then you are certain that sometimes what the person feels like and what you have gathered from that client may be slightly different,
Mhm.
because I feel like it might just happen with your perspective, the way you look at design.
Yeah.
So does that happen usually?
Oh, for sure, all the time. The client might want something, and then and we assume that we know better. Sometimes, sometimes
Okay,
we do know.
everybody does.
We do know
Yeah.
better. It takes a little bit for us to step back and actually hear him out again
Hmm.
and again and again till we get what he's trying to say.
Hmm.
Sometimes it might be a pure concept of, I don't want to clean that much. There was a client who we had given large windows, and he came and he said, build up walls here and here, and I'm like, you got such lovely windows, don't close it. And he's like, who's going to clean the glass?
Right.
Will you? So we do sit down and we barter and we say, okay, I'll close this and this, but you got to keep these.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have to come up with a point where you're also happy and they're happy, and the concept of house is not lost, because that's your responsibility. The client is paying you,
of course,
for that concept. He might have 100,000 things that he wants, but he's paying you for your concept. So you've got to have that responsibility to come back, not fight with him, but tell him, Bhaiya, all is well. If I've given you all of this, but these things you give me because your house will feel nice, or your space will have that character, and I don't want you to lose out on that opportunity. And you have to talk to them, and as time goes by, that it becomes part and parcel of that flow. So you're dealing with that daily, with different clients, and your juniors come back to you and they say this is a problem, or they want to change this, or they want to change that, and they're outraged, and I'm like, no need to get so outraged.
It's an everyday thing.
Hear them out. Hear
Yeah.
them out. We'll do 50-50.
Butter.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. So, Sunny, you have designed from restaurants to residences, and you've even won an award for your restaurants. So, what is your passion project? What do you like designing the most?
We had a great time designing a design center for a car company, and it was amazing because you're working with other designers, and their specifications are that they don't want any element that will influence them in a particular direction, because they're doing mass design production, and something like that. Or see, always your first project is always the love, right? That can't change. Your first love is your first love.
True. What was your first project?
Second year of college. It was some mama who said, I'm doing a house, would you like to give a proposal? And then the client, as kids, we got excited, and then we sat up, and then we designed everything, and we went to this guy, and he said, I've already given the project to somebody. And I was like, no way, hold on, can we see you in the morning? And all night long we cried and we designed, and we knocked at his door because he was leaving out of town at 6 a.m. So at 5 o'clock we were at his door with the designs.
Oh gosh.
And we showed it to him, and he was shell shocked, and he said, your design's really good. And it was a home, and we got that project.
Wow.
And we did that, and that was how it started. And,
great. Your first love is your first love. Truly.
Yeah.
Sunny, you're from Chennai. The firm's from Chennai. Yes. And Chennai also has a very distinct design architecture in it, like a metropolitan city does have. What is your favorite work of architecture in Chennai, and why?
Favorite work of architecture in Chennai?
Or design?
Design. It's varied, and it's changing constantly, and you can't have a favorite because you're always upgrading. You're always looking for something more, and we're hungry constantly. But
if you had to revamp an existing
actually,
building,
there's a huge number of urban projects that are going on in Chennai right now, and the whole city is taking this massive transformation to become the government's initiative to make everything smart cities really visible in Chennai, where the street that our office is on is the pilot project about 10 years ago, where the whole street was remapped and revamped. So urban spaces for the city is also part of the design. It's the urban environment. The buildings can be, so many, and the buildings are beautiful, and each one better than the other, one after the other. But these urban spaces, which is where all the public is going to come, where the footpaths start becoming real-time footpaths, where you can enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
not look at the dust and the grime and all of that anymore, but you have proper spaces. That's my favorite kind right now.
Okay, so this is one of my last questions. When you're designing a space, I know lighting is your favorite aspect of it. After that, what? What is your favorite aspect of designing a space after lighting?
Psychology.
Hmm.
Psychology of spaces is, I don't know if it's my favorite. I'm considering doing a PhD in psychology of architectural spaces, but I think that you can influence people constantly through the spaces that they inhabit. So if a space is able to keep you in a nice volume, and you've designed it not to be able to just put something fancy, but to subconsciously embed a psychological feeling that when you enter that space, you will constantly have that mood, morale, and upbeat nature, then you've achieved
Yeah.
something.
True.
So,
And has post-COVID somehow changed the perspective of the client and yours while designing a space? Has that affected? Made it more cautious, maybe?
COVID taught us a lot. All of us, we got that downtime for ourselves.
True.
We picked up books and we read. We were not tired at the end of the day. So, if we are able to work with that as that was a real feeling and a real emotion, and if we're able to somehow capture that back in the spaces, that convenience and order and nice place to be around, rather than loudness, I think that will be the direction forward.
Right.
Yeah.
So take a silver lining. That's nice. Okay, thank you so much, Sunny. It
Right.
was really informative and very inspiring to listen. I think your passion with design and architecture is not an ordinary perspective.
Thank
That's
you.
what I feel.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I wanted to thank A-Class Marbles, because having a platform like this,
Right.
and having everybody come around and talk about real things, and becoming more aware of the surroundings is a really great initiative. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so
Right,
much.
right.
Before you leave, we have one final, we have a rapid fire round for you. Okay, so I know I don't know, no need to say it, but I know you will be prompt.
Oh my God.
So here we go. Very simple and easy. It's an architecture and design based
Mhm.
rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. The first question: contemporary or classic?
Contemporary,
Okay. Minimalistic or eclectic?
minimalistic.
Work from home or go to office?
Go to office.
Go to office.
Yeah.
Sustainability or durability?
Durability.
Favorite material to work with?
Marble.
Favorite concept to work with?
Psychology.
Psychology. All right. That was quick. That was really, really fast.
Was it? Oh, okay.
I'm out of it.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
No, that was really good. Okay. So this one is a given, but I'm still going to ask you, mask or no mask?
No mask.
No mask. Now is the time to unmask.
Okay, please.
Okay. So I have two riddles for you. They are like architect riddles.
Okay.
All right. So let's see how well you know your funny bone.
My funny bone?
Yeah, these are riddles.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you. Wait,
Oh,
you have to
okay.
answer it. Why did the architect dip his finger in blue ink?
I don't know.
So we have these riddles for architects, and you know that nobody should be taking themselves too seriously. So
Yeah.
that's why we have this thing.
Absolutely. Let's
Okay,
get started.
Let's
I'm so
get
excited.
started. I have a feeling that maybe you know the answers already. Let's see now.
Come on.
Okay. Why did the architect dip his finger in blue ink?
Blueprint.
That's not
There you go.
It's
Come
so
on.
bad. Okay. I'm sure you don't know the next one.
Okay, let's see.
Pretend you don't know the next
I'll
one.
try.
How can an architect make you love your house even more?
See, definitely you have to love your architect, but tell them the cost of a new one. Oh yeah, they'll love the house.
That came to you so naturally. It's unbelievable.
Okay. Great, we got it.
Great. Thank you
Nice.
so
Hey,
much, Sunny.
Thank you.
This was so fun, and I hope you also
I had
enjoyed
a great
yourself.
time. I really did.
and
Yeah.
We had an absolute blast having you.
It was nice. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Felt good. Right up.
I would now like to call upon Mr. Rajesh Bhandari, Director A-Class Marbles, to get a memento signed by Mr. Sunny Akbar. That was a very interesting conversation with Mr. Sunny Akbar. So see you all next time on the next episode of The Chat Trap. Till then, ciao.